8:30 a.m.
on Melody 107.7 FM.
Headlines that shape the nation. Stories from the north, south, east.
7.7 FM, Lagos.
From the Dailies on your favorite radio station. Melody 107.7 FM. Stay tuned.
It's the 25th day in the month of July 2026, and which is the last Saturday in the month of July. Welcome to another exciting episode of From the Dailies on Melody 107.7 FM. And like you all know, in Lagos State, currently it is time for the environmental sanitation, the monthly environmental sanitation exercise, which takes place every last Saturday of the month. And I hope you are all out there doing a little bit of cleaning to make your environment clean and safe from diseases, because this is the main reason why we have this monthly environmental sanitation in Lagos State. I am Damilola Ologbon, welcoming you too from the Dailies, where we give you stories from our national newspapers all across the country. We give you stories from the front cover before entering or diving into details of some of the headlines, which we will be reading out to you. And this morning I will be doing it alone with you again. However, I'm live on Facebook at Melody FM 1077. Melody FM 1077. Do well to join the live video and like and share. However, you can also go under the comment section to drop your opinion or your comments on any of the headlines I will be reading out to you from our national newspapers this morning. And I will be with you up until 8:30 a.m. this morning. I've got stories from the Weekend Trust, the Nation newspaper, Saturday Punch, and also Saturday Vanguard newspaper. But I will be starting with stories from the front cover of the Weekend Trust newspaper. Starting with the Weekend Trust, the major headline and a picture on the front cover says, Mary Abila, what went wrong? This is from the Weekend Trust, and underneath it says, last moment of brothers swept away by a flood, quite a sad one. Above it says, I am blessed with 7 fantastic daughters. This is coming from Alhaji Ibrahim Abba, who is an NNPC retiree. And moving forward, it says 2027, INEC records over 6 million new voters. Wow. And this is from page 8. And the last story from the front cover of the Weekend Trust, it says, inside story of platoon female vigilantes. These are stories on the front cover of the Saturday Weekend Trust. And moving to the Nation newspaper this morning, the major headline here says, Atiku, Obasanjo, war of words escalates over bribery claims. He gave Abab 5 million naira to impeach me, says former president. Ex-vice president says, why wait until speaker died before raising allegations? This is from page 4 and 5. However, statements from both the former president and also former vice president are on the front cover of the Nation newspaper also. Underneath it says, Osun 2026, police declare Emir ex-convicts wanted over political violence. NURT rejects Adeleke's suspension. Inaugurates caretaker committee. This is also from page 2. Inside multi-billion-dollar visa ripoff on vulnerable Nigerians and others. This is also from the front cover. Federal government set up committee to develop new VAT order, which is value-added tax order. I am cleaning pensions mess you created. Tinubu slams Atiku. This is on the front cover also. And moving forward, which is the last headline on the front cover, says, How Adeyemi PFIPC enter 2026 appropriation by Budget Office DG. This story is on the front cover of the Saturday Nation newspaper this morning. And from the Saturday Punch newspaper this morning, it says, rich countries invest 20,000 Nigerian health professionals. Nowhere like home, Tinubu tells medical workers. And underneath it says 80% of health personnel considering relocating. This is coming from the National Association of Resident Doctors. And also, it can be found on page 4 and 19 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Wigwe Varsity. Ex-workers clash over arbitrary sacking, abuse claims. That's also on the front cover and can be found on page 22 and 23 of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Toba Ijaya. Rise and fall of Lagos street warlord. The alleged betrayal that led to his assassination. This is concerning one of the members of the NERTW who has been laid to rest. The story can be found on page 26 and 27 of the Punch newspaper. How I lost 4 billion keys to landslide in one night. This is quite a sad one, and it's coming from Cross River Mother. Moving forward, it says, Atiku hits back at Obasanjo. Don't exploit ex-speaker's death. This is also on the front cover. Commonwealth Games. Oluwafayomi smashes world record as Nigeria dominates opening day. And from the entertainment scene, it says, I made millions laugh while fighting personal battles. This is coming from content creator Taoma. And these are stories on the front cover of the Saturday Punch newspaper. Lastly, from the front cover of the Saturday Vanguard, fake agency originated from Buhari's government, says Budget Office. Explains how PFIPC was allocated money. This is from page 5. Terrorism. While military faces tough challenges in the north, safe havens support networks make rescue mission difficult. This is coming from General Musa. No, Abacha didn't die in bed with a woman. This is also on page 17. Tax education. Page debuts with Abimbola Abdurrahman Lekki. This is also from page 628. And moving forward, it says, Peter Obi, you can change Nigeria in 4 years. I'm committed to one term, can even sign legally binding affidavit. This is coming from the presidential flag bearer of the NDC. US hits Nigeria, 7 African countries with 12.5% tariff over forced labor claims, can be found on page 6. Budget experts fault National Assembly over mosque, church, palace funding, link it to 2027 polls, can be found on page 37. And lastly, Kwara. State governments build 1,600 housing units for residents. Small city to accommodate 540,000 people. This is on page 4. And these are stories from the cover of the Saturday Vanguard newspaper. A quick break, and when I come back, I will dive into details of some of the headlines being read out so far from the front covers of our national dailies. Do not go anywhere. This is still from the dailies on Melody 107.7 FM. I am Damilola Ologbon. I will be right back.
From the pages of Nigeria's top newspapers to your radio.
It's from the Dailies, your early morning companion.
Every Monday through Saturday from 8 a.m. to 8:30 a.m.
on Melody 107.7 FM.
Headlines that shape the nation. Stories from the north, south, east, and west. Brought to you fresh and fast.
With expert analysis, sharp opinions, and sound presenters breaking it all down clearly, smartly, and straight to the point.
Politics, business, security, health, society. Nothing escapes the spotlight.
This is your head start into Nigeria's biggest stories of the day. From the Dailies, news that talks to you. Only on Melody 107.7 FM, Lagos.
Welcome back. It's still from the Dailies on Melody 107.7 FM, where I will be giving you details of some of the headlines read out so far from the front covers of our national newspapers. And I will be starting with the Punch newspaper this morning. The headline here says, rich countries harvest 20,000 Nigerian health workers. And the lead of the story, it says here, remember I'm live on Facebook at Melody FM 1077. Melody FM 1077. The lead of the story says, no fewer than 20,966 Nigerian health workers relocated abroad within 1 year. Official figures obtained by Saturday Punch have revealed. The mass exodus includes 3,919 doctors, 7,484 nurses and midwives, 6,861 medical laboratory professionals, 702 pharmacists, 657 physiotherapists, and hundreds of other specialists, according to the State of Health of the Nation Report 2025. The growing migration came under the spotlight following the revelation that a senior consultant neurosurgeon at the University of Ilorin Teaching Hospital, Dr. Salamat Aliyu Ibrahim, had relocated to the United States. Aliyu Ibrahim, a foremost neurosurgeon, now works as a medical doctor pediatrics Freeman Children Clinic, a facility under Freeman Health System in Missouri. This is a data obtained by Saturday Punch from the United Kingdom's General Medical Council. Showed that 4,691 Nigerian trained doctors joined the UK medical register between May 2023 to April 2026. More of the stories can be found in the pages of the Punch newspaper. Moving forward, as the country gears up for the general election in 2027, it says here, voters registration ends Sunday. INEC reminds Nigerians. And the lead of the story says the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, has urged eligible Nigerians to take advantage of the remaining days of the continuous voter registration, warning that the registration window will close on Sunday, July 26, 2026. In a public note issued on its X handle on Saturday, the electoral body reminded prospective voters that they could complete their registration online from start to finish through its dedicated CVR portal or visit designated registration centers nationwide for physical assistance. INEC encouraged Nigerians who require assistance to visit any of its state offices, local government areas, offices, or designated registration centers to complete the process in person. The Commission also stated that all registration centers will remain open daily, including weekends, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. until the exercise ends. This is concerning the continuous voters registration, which INEC says will close tomorrow, July 26, 2026. More of the story can be found in the Punch newspaper. From the Punch newspaper, away from election matters, this is from Kano State. It says here, Kano bans after party, hot challenge activities after weddings. The Kano State Censorship Board has announced the immediate suspension of activities popularly known as after party and hot challenge at wedding ceremonies and other social events held at event centers across the state. The Executive Secretary of the board, Abba El Mustafa, announced the suspension in a statement issued by the board's public relations officer, Abdullahi Sulaiman, on Saturday. According to the statement, the measure is part of the board's ongoing efforts to ensure compliance and regulations governing the activities of masters of ceremony and event centers across the state. More of the story can be found in the pages of the Punch newspaper. Moving to another newspaper from the Vanguard newspaper, here it says fake agency originated from Buhari's government. Budget Office explains PFIPC's allocation. The Budget Office of the Federation yesterday explained that the Presidential Foreign Intervention Promotion Council, PFIPC, which the presidency declared as fake and is currently being investigated by the Independent Court Practices Commission, ICPC, had its origin in the last administration of late President Muhammadu Buhari. The Director General of the Budget Office, Mr. Taminu Yakubu, who provided the explanation in his statement after appearing before members of the House of Representatives in Abuja, said the PFIPC's institutional origin was premised on the Presidential Economic Advisory Council inaugurated by President Muhammadu Buhari on October 9, 2019. He also explained how the fake agency was allocated money in the 2026 budget. Mr. Tamino further explained that the council submitted a personnel estimate of 3.5850 billion naira for the 2026 fiscal year, and that his office had to reduce the figure to 802.8978 million naira using the authorized establishment, the approved recruitment waiver, the application public service salary structure, and the extant costing methodology. More of the story can be found in the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. Pensions, stop ghosting, shadow chasing, Atiku tells Tinubu. The presidential flag bearer of the African Democratic Congress and former Vice President of Nigeria, Atiku Abubakar, has waved off the recent insinuation and innuendo by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in respect of federal government's pension backlog as unnecessary ghosting and futile political shadow chasing by an inept APC-led administration. The Atiku Media Office, in a response on Friday, described as untenable the disguised brickbats by the president to visiting northeast political stakeholders led by Governor Babangana Zulum, where he blamed the pension problems in the country on the Obasanjo Atiku government that left the office almost 2 decades before him. It reminded that when President Olusegun Obasanjo and Vice President then Atiku Abubakar took office in 1999, they inherited a broken, unfunded and non-contributory defined benefit scheme that had accumulated an unsustainable pension liability deficit estimated at over 2 trillion naira, about 25% of the country's GDP at that time. They did not embark on calling out their predecessors but rolled their sleeves to turn around the situation. More of the story can be found in the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. 0704-800-1077 or 0906-201-1077. Those are the numbers to join me this morning and give your contribution on any of the stories read out so far this morning. Moving to Osun State, it says here, you can't suspend NURTW. MC Ologbon tells Adeleke. The National Union of Road Transport Workers, NURTW, on Friday openly defied Governor Daimola Adeleke's order suspending its activities in Osun State, insisting that no state governor has the power to shut down the operation of the nationally recognized transport union. Moving forward, it says what began as a violent struggle for control of motor parks in Osogbo has now snowballed into a face-off between the Osun State government and the national leadership of the union, with both sides asserting authority over the running of NURTW affairs in the state. Speaking at an inauguration of a 7-member caretaker committee in Osun State for Osun in Abuja, the union's deputy national president, Aliyu Isa Ore, who represented National President Musliu Akinsoya, popularly known as MC Oluomo, said the national body could not leave the state chapter without recognized leadership, particularly with the governorship election approaching and the union expected to play its role under the existing Memorandum of Understanding with the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC. More of the story can be found in the pages of the Vanguard newspaper. Let's move into the Nation newspaper. It says Atiku Obasanjo, war of words escalates over bribery claims. He gave Naaba 5 million naira to impeach me, says former president. Ex-vice president, why wait until speaker died before raising allegation? Now, the lead of the story says the verbal war between former President Olusegun Obasanjo and his former Vice President Atiku Abubakar rose to a higher gear yesterday, with Atiku dismissing Obasanjo's allegation that he bribed the Gali Umar Naaba-led House of Representatives to get him impeached as president before the 2003 elections. The allegations was contained in Obasanjo's July 23 letter responding to former governor of Ogun State, Olusegun Oshoba's reflection on the 2003 elections, published in the Legal Observer on July 20, wherein he reflected on the frosty relationship between him and his former deputy. In a statement issued yesterday by Senior Special Assistant on Public Communication, Frank Shaibu, Atiku alleged that the claims were revived to damage his reputation and bluster the political prospects of Obasanjo's preferred candidate ahead of the 2027 presidential election. Atiku, however, described Obasanjo's allegation that he bribed the late former Speaker of the House of Representatives, Gali Umar Naba, to felicitate his impeachment as baseless and unfair, particularly because the late lawmaker is no longer alive to respond. More of the story on this verbal battle can be found in the pages of the Nation newspaper. I'm clearing pensions mess you created, Tinubu slams Atiku. Says economy has stabilized, vows to stay course on reforms, commands North-East leaders to support and urge greater collaboration on security, while ex-vice president defends Obasanjo's era reforms. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has taken a swipe at former vice president Atiku Abubakar over the privatization of public enterprises during the Olusegun Obasanjo administration, declaring that his government is now paying pension obligations left unsettled from that era and cleaning the mess created by his prospective opponent. Tinubu made the remark at the State House, Abuja, while receiving political, traditional and community leaders from the Northeast who paid him a thank you visit following his renomination of Vice President Kashim Shettima as his running mate for the 2027 presidential election. Without mentioning Atiku by name, the president referred to one of his prospective challengers in the next year's election who chaired the privatization program under the previous administration, saying the exercise failed to protect the interests of pensioners affected by the reforms. More of the story can be found in the pages of the Nation newspaper. As you can see, all drivers are coming in as we are all gearing up for the 2027 election. However, this is as much as I can take this morning on From the Dailies. Remember, From the Dailies comes on Melody FM on Mondays up until Saturdays, where we review with you stories from our national newspapers to keep you informed about what is happening in the country and around you. And just like INEC said, tomorrow being July 26, 2026 will be the day that the continuous voters registration exercise closes. Do well to go online through their websites and get your PVC in preparation for the 2027 election. Follow us on all social media platforms at Melody FM 1077. Melody FM 1077. And I am Damilola Ologbon saying good morning and enjoy your weekend.